Welcome to the YCN Game of the Week. This week, YCN travels to Woodstock, Vermont, as the Wasps host their rivals, the Yellow Jackets from neighboring Windsor, in this showdown of the undefeated. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Valley Regional Hospital, where it's all about staying healthy. La Valley Building Supplies for home improvement and construction, from concept to completion. Kasasa, free checking that pays, now available at Claremont Savings Bank. And HR Clough, the home energy specialist and Kearsarge Heating Oils.
I'm Jeremy Stout, joined by Andrew Zerhide, and tonight on a rainy evening, Andrew, we have two undefeated teams, high-scoring offenses, going up against each other. Senior night, is it all going to play out as it's scripted, or is this rain going to cause some havoc?
Yeah, who knows, Jeremy? This rain is definitely going to change the game plan for both teams. On the Windsor side, we'll look for Seth Balch. He's the quarterback. He's probably going to be handing the ball off a lot to Hunter Judd. He's the running back for Windsor. And yeah, this rain-soaked game, going to be a lot of running. Let's see if the quarterbacks attempt to pass it all. Could turn out badly, but guess we'll find out.
And for the Woodstock side, who do we have that we'll be focusing on tonight?
So the quarterback for the Wasps is Luke Issa. He's a senior, and this will be his last regular season game as a Wasp. And he's probably going to be handing the ball off a lot to number 1, Bill Wood. He's the senior running back for Woodstock. And so their game plan is probably going to be similar to Windsor in this wet weather.
All right, so the rain looks like it's slowing down, may even stop by kickoff. We have an exciting matchup of Division III teams here in Vermont. Final regular season game, both teams 7-0. We'll come back with kickoff after this.
The Game of the Week is brought to you by Valley Regional Hospital, where it's all about staying healthy. La Valley Building Supplies for home improvement and construction, from concept to completion. Kasasa, free checking that pays, now available at Claremont Savings Bank. And HR Clough, the home energy specialist and Kearsarge Heating Oils.
Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week, Woodstock, Vermont, where Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide, we are here in a soggy field. The rain has stopped for the most part. We're ready to go. Windsor will kick off in the first half here. Back to receive for Woodstock, Bill Wood and Daniel Robinson. Kicking for the Yellow Jackets, number 14, Seth Balch. So, Andrew, we're underway. Squib kick, and it's touched by the Woodstock player and fumbled. Did it stay in play? Refs will say that he did maintain possession, and it will be Woodstock starting their first drive at about their own 38-yard line. Maybe 39. No hash marks on this field, so you'll have to do our best educated guessing. So under center, as we mentioned, Luke Issa. Handoff up the middle to Ezra Asbury. And Asbury will go for just about 5 yards, get it to about the 44-yard line. In with the play comes Spencer Cole.
Pretty nice job by the Woodstock line there, creating a hole for Asbury.
Yeah, and as you mentioned in the pregame, we may see a lot of that, but now the weather looks like it may be okay, so it'll be interesting to see what type of tactic these two teams employ. And right there, they're going to keep it on the ground. Asbury there with another run. That'll move the chains, gets them just to the 49-yard line, and a first down for the Wasps.
Yeah, that was kind of a tricky play there. A couple of fake handoffs, and then the ball back to Asbury, gets the first down. Nice job by the offensive line of the Wasps so far.
And we talked about it in the early going, two offensive juggernauts, really good offensively and playing good defense. We'll get to the numbers after this play. I know you had some numbers for the season, how many points scored and allowed, as we see again another run by Asbury for 4 or 5 yards, plugging away, crossing the 50. So scored and allowed. What are those numbers for both teams?
Yeah, so the Yellow Jackets, they have scored a total of 333 points while allowing just 55 so far. And the Woodstock Wasps, almost identical, have scored 335 points so far while allowing 77. So both teams' offenses have been very strong.
Yeah, and including in a couple of those games, there was one where, let's see here, Windsor beat Mill River 57-0. As you see another run there by Asbury for another first down. So 57-0, 56-6, one victory over Springfield, 55-7. So this Windsor team can put points on the board. As you mentioned, both teams really can.
Yeah, these are two very good teams. Strong offenses, strong defense. This is going to be a battle here tonight.
Right now, Woodstock content to keep it on the ground. That offensive line getting the leverage, getting the movement, and fakes the handoff. This time he'll throw. Nobody open there, but a flag on the field. Daniel Robinson thought he had somebody, but it looks like he may have been held up, probably going to go against Windsor.
Yeah, it looked like a couple of Windsor players held up the receiver, couldn't get a path to the ball. I think that's a good flag.
So the first pass attempt will be penalty against Windsor. Run every play up until then, and then the fake handoff going to find somebody down the field, and a penalty. First down, Woodstock. Woodstock driving towards the fan section. On this field, you have two different sides. One, all the fans, one, there's really nobody. And this time it's going to be another run, but this one will go to Daniel Robinson, the senior running back. And he'll pick up 7 or 8 yards, bring up second down.
The YCN Game of the Week and Saturday YCN Live College Game Day is brought to you by H.R. Clough, the home energy specialist, and La Valley Building Supply, and Casasa, free checking at Claremont Savings Bank. Thank them for making this coverage possible.
So that'll bring up second down. Looks like about 4 yards to go. Gain 6 on the run. Woodstock continuing to move the ball. They started this drive on their own 39-yard line. They'll switch it up there. Another handoff. Run up the middle. Bill Wood, the senior, gets the inside handoff. He bounces off a couple of would-be tacklers before falling just about 2 yards shy of the first down. That'll bring up Woodstock's first test, third down. What do you think they're doing here? They've had some couple of runs, stalled the last 2 times. Will they go back to the air or try and go back to Asbury?
I mean, I think you have to run the ball. I think the offensive line has been working very well with the quarterback, with the running back, knowing where the ball is going to be. I think they got to go to the ground here.
And it looks like they're in that set. Man comes in motion, and they do, as you said, keep it on the ground. And first down. They do get the first down. So first down. And it will be goal to go. Just about inside the 10-yard line from the far side. I can see the first down marker standing just about the 10. And the chain gang is off the field. So first and goal. Man goes in motion, and maybe the line was a little early on the movement as well. False start is the call on Woodstock. And Andrew, that looked like a play where maybe it was going to go to the right, and you'd maybe see a guard pulling to get that block, and he just wanted to get out of his blocks a little early to make sure he got there, and a little too early.
Right, yeah, he jumped the snap a little bit too early, a little anxious. You know, it is the beginning of the game. I'm sure he'll settle in.
Yeah, just trying to get settled in here as we go to first and goal, now backed up to about the 14-yard line. 7:50 to go. Clock is moving here in the first quarter. Ooh. The handoff goes to the second man. That one's Daniel Robinson, and he's knocked back for a couple-yard loss.
Yeah, a little trick play there. Daniel Robinson faked like he wasn't going to get the handoff, but then he came back. But the Windsor defense reading that all the way. Nice job by the defense. Let's see if they can stop him here.
And that's the only drawback to the fact that they are a power running team and they continue to keep it on the ground, is now Windsor can try and sell out for the run.
Right.
We'll see now with a couple receivers on the left side, one receiver on the right side. It looks like an empty backfield, maybe going to the pass for Woodstock. But the handoff on the jet sweep off to the right side, and Robinson goes nowhere. He's swallowed up by a couple tacklers.
Yeah, Woodstock doing a number of fake handoffs, and it's giving Windsor extra time to break through the line. So far, at least the last couple of plays, the running game hasn't been too successful. And now it's third down. Let's see what the Wasps decide to do here.
Yeah, because as you said, if they do a little trickery or something where they take a couple more seconds, those blockers have to hold their position just a little bit longer, and it makes their job a little tougher. This one's going to go to the left. Bill Wood on the sweep. He's going to break free, gets back to maybe the original line of scrimmage inside the 10, maybe to the 9 yard line, but it'll be fourth down. Couple of substitutes coming in for the Wasps on fourth down.
Yeah, and as you said, Jeremy, the Woodstock line, they need to keep blocking Windsor out. Some of them seem to block, then kind of turn around a little bit. They're allowing Windsor to really break through.
Yeah, can't give up on the play. As a fourth down here, it's going to be a fake. It looks like a QB keeper, and Issa will keep it, gets to the right side, doesn't have enough daylight, and he's driven out of bounds. That'll be a turnover on downs. Great defense there by Windsor.
Yeah, really good job by the Windsor defense. Looked a little shaky the first couple of plays in this drive, but these last four, they've been very strong. Barely allowing any positive yardage, and they earned this turnover on downs.
So with 5:39 to go in the first quarter, we'll step aside. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Woodstock hosting Windsor in a battle of unbeatens. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide here, where Woodstock on their first drive started at their own 39, went all the way down inside the 10-yard line, and then started going backwards. Windsor stopped them on fourth down, and that's where they take over now. But now a false start penalty. Windsor already putting themselves in a hole. The Windsor quarterback, number 14, Seth Balch, the junior, lines up under center. Quick handoff to the running back, 22, Hunter Judd, the senior. And he'll break it to the outside for a good 10-yard gain. Ends up just about second down and 5.
Yeah, nice run there by Judd. And the Windsor offensive line doing a nice job creating a hole for Judd. He found it. Picked up about 6 yards.
Yeah, not a good vantage point from where we are to see the scoreboard, but I believe they said 2nd and 4 over the public address announcer. This one handed off to number 6, Hunter Patnode. He carries for a few yards, bringing up a first down. It looks like they're going to give him enough. And they do. So first down for Windsor as they continue the march out of their own end, starting the drive after taking over on downs, immediately getting a false start penalty, but their ground game looks to be just as strong as Woodstock was in the early going. Balch under center, man in motion. Balch will fake it and keep it. He goes to the left, has a blocker out there on the edge. The receiver making a nice couple of blocks. That was Zachary McLeod.
Nice job there by Balch, fighting off a little bit of early contact, turning the play into a pretty successful play there, picking up about 7, looks like.
Yeah, it looks like if Windsor's running game can continue to pick up yardage in chunks of 4 and 5, 6, 7 yards per play, they'll have some success. But as we mentioned, both teams keeping it on the ground in the early going. First quarter here, no score. The handoff to the up man, and he goes nowhere, right up to the line, but falls forward. Flag on the play. See what they call it and where they will spot it.
Yeah, it seemed like he fell forward for maybe the first down, a couple extra yards, but I believe the refs called him down before his elbow or knee was actually down, but it seemed like the pile wasn't going anywhere. And let's see what they rule this flag.
So they're going to say assisting the runner.
Huh.
That's the old Reggie Bush play from USC. Back in the day, he didn't quite have the end zone pushed in. Gets the touchdown, but Windsor not as lucky to get away with it. So that'll go bring them back to second down and 7 or 8.
Yeah, kind of a weird penalty there. You don't see that called very often.
Yeah, can't push the pile. So Balch under center, man under in the backfield, Hunter Judd. And Balch will keep it. Looking downfield, has a man down here, number 32, Zachary McLeod, and ball's incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like McLeod. I mean, I think it hit him right in the chest. He just couldn't hang on to it. I'm sure the ball's a little slippery, and Woodstock did play good defense. The man was right there with him.
Yeah, the man that was there with him, number 25, Runner Brown. And I think the throw may have been a little late because McLeod had 4 or 5 steps on his defender right off the line. So if Balch was able to throw it a little sooner, maybe it would have been a completion. But either way, brings up third down. The pitch to the outside goes to Judd. He'll swing it off to the off tackle. Short gain, but it'll bring up fourth down for Windsor in their own territory. This is probably a spot where you might punt the ball. I guess it depends how much you trust your defense.
Right, and I mean, in my opinion, I think you have to punt it here. I mean, they're not even on their own 40-yard line.
Right, they're just across their own 30-yard line. They are lining up as if they're going to go for a Balch. Under center, Judd in the backfield. Receiver split out left, that's McLeod. Maybe draw the hard snap, hard count, try and draw him off sides. It's not going to work. They're going to call a timeout. That was their plan all along. I'm sure they'll come back in punt formation, but we'll take a break, step aside here. No score from Woodstock, Vermont. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week. Welcome back to the YCN Game of the Week. Jeremy Stout, Andrew Zerhide here in Woodstock, Vermont, for a battle of unbeatens, Windsor and Woodstock. Both having one offensive possession. Woodstock turned it over on downs. Windsor punting there, so Woodstock will take over. Looks like the refs walking up the sidelines. It went out of bounds. Just about the 43-yard line. That's where Woodstock will take over.
Stay tuned at the end of our telecast for the H.R. Clough Kearsarge Heating Oil Turning Up the Heat Player of the Game, when we'll pick the top performer in tonight's matchup.
All right, Andrew, so we've seen both offenses. What are your initial takeaways from a power run game on both sides and a defensive stand? I mean, we thought it was going to be high scoring, but clearly both defenses came to play.
Right, yeah, a lot of running so far, not too many passes. The passing we have seen have been unsuccessful. One was called for a flag, the other one wasn't caught, but a lot of running so far.
So as we say that, we get a drop back by Woodstock, and that's Luke Issa getting hurried, throws it incomplete in the middle of the field.
Nice job by Issa there, just getting rid of the ball. Don't want to get sacked. Don't want to lose any yardage. A lot of high school quarterbacks try to hold on the ball for a little too long. I think that was a smart move, just getting rid of it.
I will say, I was kind of surprised they didn't call intentional grounding there. I don't know what the high school rules are, but that was pretty much the definition of it.
Right.
In the pocket, throws no receivers in the vicinity, but either way, no penalty there. Woodstock 2nd and 10 from their own 43-yard line. Still in the first quarter here, no score. This handoff on the inside goes to 15, Daniel Robinson. loss of about 3. So, Andrew, it looks like after we saw the beginning, Ezra Asbury, the senior, chewed up yardage like there was nobody stopping him from their own 40-yard line all the way up until the other, inside the 10. And now it seems like they've gone away from it and tried to get a little too cute here. And Windsor's keying on it, and they've shut him down.
Yeah, Windsor has been ready for basically the last, I don't know how many running plays from Woodstock.
And once again, this one will go to Bill Wood. He has some space, a little shifty running back, and he's got around the corner, one man to beat, and that one man will push him out of bounds, but not before Bill Wood gets the first down.
Yeah, what a run there by Bill Wood. Broke multiple tackles, shoved off a couple of defenders. That's a big run there, and I believe that was Wood's first carry of the night. And I think that's what Woodstock has to do. They can't just give it to Asbury and hope for the best. They got to mix it up. And that's exactly what they did right there.
And the quarterback for Windsor making the stop there, Seth Balch. He also plays back as a safety type. And this one's going to go up the middle of Robinson. He goes for a couple-yard gain.
Our replays were brought to you by Kasasa, a catchy word for earning cash. Ask for free Kasasa checking at Claremont Savings Bank. Qualifications and rules apply. See them for details. Member FDIC.
As we are inside 1 minute here to go in the first quarter, no score. Both teams satisfied to keep it on the ground. Woodstock's first possession ended in a turnover on downs inside the 10-yard line. Windsor punting on their first possession. Now Woodstock trying to drive again at the Windsor 30. Pitch to the outside, and that one's Asbury again. And he'll get around the corner before he's dragged out of bounds. And that'll be enough for a Woodstock first down.
Nice job by Asbury. Rolling to the outside, picking up the first down.
A nice crowd here tonight, despite the weather, senior night. Of course, the last home regular season contest. Both these teams undefeated will get a home playoff game next week. And there's a handoff to Bill Wood. He goes up the middle and met quickly by a trio of Yellow Jacket defenders.
Yeah, not a ton of blocking there by Woodstock. A couple of players would block for a couple of seconds and then seem to look around again. Not creating a huge hole there for Wood. But it looks like they picked up about 3 yards. And there's a player down on the field.
Yeah, there's a player down on the field with Woodstock in possession. Second down and about 7 or 8. First quarter almost at a close. Looking back at the schedule, as I mentioned, their final game of the season for both teams. Woodstock winning in September against Spalding, 77-0. Now, I don't know if that's the record for the most points scored this year in Vermont football, but it's got to be up there. 77-point win.
And it looks like that's number 16, Jake Tucker there, the junior running back / linebacker. He's being helped off the field. Doesn't look good. But at least he's able to stand up and be helped off the field.
And he was one of the players that Coach Balch had mentioned as, one of the important in their 4-3 defense, along with Ben Meager, Caleb Harrington, and Hunter Patino. Jake Tucker on the defensive line. So we'll see what type of changes and strategies and complications that might do for Windsor. So hopefully he's okay. Here we go, probably the last play of the first quarter. That's another handoff to Asbury. And before he's tackled, forward progress is stopped, bringing up fourth down. And that appears like it's going to do it. So a scoreless first quarter. After talking how both teams putting up tons of points all season, they go scoreless in the first quarter. We'll step aside and come right back with the second quarter. You're watching the YCN Game of the Week.